A very good morning from Bangladesh and good evening from the United States or from any parts of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our session. We have with us today, this is the first session and this is the last day of Women Entrepreneurship Congress. And we are starting with a very good speaker today. Okay, she is not only a good speaker, she is also an amazing person I have ever seen in my life. And I got to know her a couple of years ago, and till then we have a very good relationship, and you will love that person as well. So today I'm talking about none other than Miss Betsy Saber, who is the Vice President of Mindcett LLC. So welcome Betsy Saber to our session. We are going to discuss about the developing how to develop the mindsets, because you know that for entrepreneurial journey it is important to have these mindsets. Sometimes we got frustrated, but in the meantime, what are the things we need to have so that we do not lose our passion, we do not lose our focus. She has worked with several countries, she has some statistics, she has worked with some policymakers, so she can give you a very good overview of this session. So I would like to first introduce my speaker to you guys. So let's start with Betsy Shaver. Please give your introduction to our audience.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Beauty. I truly appreciate the warm welcome. And, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. I truly appreciate it. I have a slide set to share, so let me pull that up here just a moment. My name is Betsy Shaver, as Beauty said, and I'm the Vice President of Operations for Mindcett, LLC. And in today's meeting, I'm going to give you an idea of what we do at Mindcett, and then we'll look at some profiles, some women's profiles that we have from our test, and then after that we'll open it up for questions. So today's topic is cultivating the entrepreneurial mindset, and as I mentioned a second ago, my name is Betsy Shaver. I'm the Vice President of Operations, and I'll put my contact information up at the end of this. So if you have any questions that we can't get to today, or you think of something a couple days later, you have my contact information. So let me get my notes here. All right, who is Mindcett? Well, Mindcett was founded in 2012 by my father, Dr. Kelly Shaver, pictured there. He's trained as an experimental social psychologist and has been teaching experimental social psychology, and the psychology of entrepreneurship for, well, he wouldn't want me to say how long, but a very long time. And since then, Mindcett has completed 2 national studies, one in the Republic of South Africa, one in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And in 2018, we won Jen's prestigious Research Champions Award for the work we did in South Africa. I joined Mindcett in 2017, and it's been a lot of fun. I've met some wonderful, wonderful people, including Beauty, that I never would have had a chance to meet otherwise. Now, who becomes an entrepreneur? The truth is, there's still a lot that we actually don't know for certain. It's driven by multiple factors, including those listed here. But depending on the situation and circumstances, sometimes they can encourage entrepreneurship, sometimes they can discourage. So, for example, let's take the bullet that says family. That cuts both ways. So if you're raised by parents who are successful entrepreneurs, you're more likely to become one yourself. However, if you have watched your parents try to launch numerous businesses and never seem to hit on the chemistry to make it happen, then that might dissuade you from it. There are other factors at play as well. There's prior experience, there are personality characteristics, including self-efficacy and the big five. So it's a little bit outside of the scope to get into all of those in this presentation, but if you'd like to talk more about that, we'd be happy to talk about that with you. So with so many variables, how do you know what you end up with in an entrepreneur? Well, we've developed a test called the Mindcett test, which is based on the existing literature. We looked at all the existing literature based of entrepreneurship, and we developed questions from all of those. So we started basically wide funnel at the top, and we kept narrowing things down. So we wound up with 72 questions. It takes less than 10 minutes to complete. It provides a comprehensive psychological profile. It's based on peer-reviewed science. So there are a lot of tests out there that claim to identify, are you an entrepreneur, and things like that. And it's really quite a lot more complicated than, you know, just a quiz in a magazine or something like that. And so ours is the only one that has been peer-reviewed. We've published our work in various journals. In fact, if you've been to the Research and Entrepreneurship Conference, you'd probably be familiar with our work. And there are nationally representative samples on which we based our data points. We also have separate results for men and women entrepreneurs. Now, this is very important because we know from the literature that men and women are different when it comes to entrepreneurship. I mean, it makes sense, right? We're different when it comes to most other things. So men and women start businesses for different reasons and at different points in their lives. So we felt it was just not scientifically accurate to lump everybody all into one group. So that's why we have separate results for both men and women. Because if you disaggregate the data, it's easy enough to, at the end, toss it all back together and look at the big picture. But if you never ask your respondents, are you male or female, then the degree to which you can analyze the data and extract meaningful conclusions is very limited. Based on our research, these are the psychological dimensions that have presented themselves: confidence, diligence, entrepreneurial desire, innovation, leadership, motives, permanence, resilience, and self-control. Now let's talk about these. Confidence, innovation, leadership, and resilience. Those are all fairly self-explanatory. They are also dynamic, meaning they can be changed. So a person could either coach themselves up, you know, personal growth and development, or you could work with a coach who could raise you to the next level. Diligence, entrepreneurial desire, and motives are fairly stable, so they are unlikely to change over time. If you don't want to be an entrepreneur now, you probably don't ever want to be an entrepreneur. We'll take a look at that in a second as well. Now for the other dimensions, permanence. Let me clarify that. Permanence is the philosophy that personality and events are almost impossible to change. So a low score is actually good in this case, because a low score means you believe the opposite, meaning you believe that people can change if they want to, and you believe that about yourself as well. The next one I want to talk about is self-control. And the reason we call it self-control is because it not only encompasses autonomy, which is being in charge of being the boss, basically, it also reflects the ability to change one's behavior if you determine that that is warranted. So I'm sure we've all been in situations where, you know, you're at a party or something or at a conference and someone just can't quite read the social cues all that well. So that would be a component of self-control. Now, how do the dimensions create a profile? Let's have a look. So here's our website. If you go to our website, there's a button that will enable you to take our test, and you go through the questions, and at the end of the test, you'll be shown your scores on 2 dimensions free of charge, and for a one-time charge of $50, you can see the entire thing. We'll come back to that at the very end of this because I've got a surprise. So let's look at some profiles. Here's profile number 1. This is a 59-year-old female. She reads other people and situations well. She leads better than most women in our database, even though she's not really comfortable in the spotlight. She has very low entrepreneurial desires, see here, meaning she's happy to be second in command, and she's naturally good at playing in a supporting role. She's not comfortable with risk, and she has a habit of second-guessing herself. That's what this confidence score tells us, even though she has great instincts. Second profile, this is a 39-year-old female. She's a very good worker bee, and she will get the stated job done, completed to others' satisfaction. She occupies a space of liking to work alone, but not wanting to be in charge. The last profile is this 48-year-old female. She's incredibly detail-oriented, possesses great situational awareness, and is a strong leader. She's much more diligent than she is confident, meaning that her abilities are really only limited by her own self-doubt. When managing projects, she leaves nothing to chance, not even details that others would regard as unimportant. She does not necessarily want to be in business for herself, as you see from the score. She wants to more than others, but based on her other scores, I would expect it to be a little higher. Similarly, like the other women that we looked at, I would expect this woman's confidence level to be higher because her other scores are quite high. She's in the 90s on a couple of these and very close here. So she's a resilient woman. She's smart. She knows how to get it done. She just doubts herself too much. So, conclusions. Not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. I have seen a pair of people, unfortunately for the purposes of this presentation, they were both men, but one of them had a profile that was very similar to the first one I showed you, and the other one had a profile very similar to the last one that we just looked at. And because they're so different, they made a fantastic team, and they also made a lot of money because of their different skill sets. They worked together, they complemented each other, and it's funny because when I saw the first one, I thought, is this person really even an entrepreneur? And then I found out that person was the engineer. And the other person who had a profile similar to the one that we just looked at was the entrepreneur. So that's another way in which the test can be useful, is finding people who are different enough from yourself that you're strong in different areas. Women tend to undervalue their abilities. I think probably all women watching this can relate to it, that there have been times that we've just not trusted ourselves, we've not trusted our gut feeling, we've not believed in ourselves enough, and we got to stop doing that, because the men, you look at the men's confidence scores, they're all the way up. I mean, the men have no problem with confidence at all. What you have to discern is, where does confidence end and ability begin? Because the men tend to believe that they have greater abilities than is necessarily true. So we just have to start believing in ourselves more. And we'll come to that on the next slide. Here we are. So one of the things we can do to cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset is think more about the children in your life. If you've spent even an afternoon with a child, you know that they question everything. Everything is a question. Everything is a negotiation, right? But what happens, especially to women, is, we're brought up and socialized to be polite. I live in the southern United States, and it's very important to be a polite young lady. Well, sometimes we may be doing our daughters a disservice by trying to raise them to be polite young women, because we need them to challenge everything. The best discoveries in the world have come about because somebody was curious. And if we stop asking questions, we don't get there. Now, as for the next two bullets, these are ones that we have to work on. I mentioned that where I live, it's very important to be considered a polite young lady and that sort of thing. And, in some ways that's a disservice, because when you get out in the real world, you realize not everyone was raised to be a polite young lady or man. And you have to learn how to deal with conflict. You maybe had parents who did not model for you how to effectively deal with discomfort and conflict. So then you're an adult and you're trying to figure it out. If we raise our children to think, particularly our girls, if we raise our girls to question everything, challenge everything, never stop being curious, and speak up when you think something's not right, that's going to make them better entrepreneurs in the end, because they'll have that curiosity. They will want to ask questions rather than just seek answers. And, in this country, our education system is very much geared toward finding answers. By the time we get out of secondary school, that's all we want to do is find the solution, find the answer as quickly as possible, without stopping to think about the questions. And, the fundamental question that entrepreneurs ask is, how does this work? And how could it work better? So that's what we need to bring with us. Now, speaking to the men for a moment, you have women in your life who want to be entrepreneurs, or they want to be better entrepreneurs. Perhaps it's your daughter, your sister, your girlfriend, a friend, a cousin, a wife, whoever it is. You can help facilitate this by offering your support. And when I say support, that doesn't necessarily mean financial support. Sometimes what the woman in your life needs most is simply your unwavering belief in her. As an aside, I would like to say, Asif, Beauty's husband, models this better than almost any man I've ever met in my life. So, guys, if you have any questions about how to be a supportive male ally, hit up Asif. He can give you some pointers. And then the next thing is, we must acknowledge that success is not a zero-sum game. So sometimes we get locked into this scarcity mentality rather than an abundance mentality. If we're thinking scarcity, we think, oh, well, if they have success, it means I don't get it because they have it. But there's plenty of success to go around. And really, success is better thought of as an enrichment. So think of it as, you know, if you're a man and your wife is a successful entrepreneur, that's great for you. You know, that's fantastic. So everyone can enjoy the benefits of women becoming more successful entrepreneurs. And with that, I will put this quote up for you. Good quote, right? Yeah. All right. Now to come back to what I said earlier, thank you, everyone. I have a special offer for you in honor of Global Entrepreneurship Week. So if you decide you'd like to take our test, you get through all the way to the end, and you'll see at the very end there's a spot that says discount code. And for the rest of the month, if you enter the discount code GenGlobal2020, you'll receive 20% off the testing price. It's $50 US. It will convert to your currency when you process it, so you'll receive 20% off the conversion. And if you would like any help interpreting your results, that's my email address, and I'd be happy to talk about it with you. If anyone wants, I can also, if you send me an email, we can connect also on Skype and WhatsApp and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit, sometimes it's a little bit quicker on WhatsApp than an email. So with that, here are my references in case anyone wants to see them. And I'll make this slide set available as well. I'll have our web hosting company put it up on our website. So if people would like to come back to this later, that will be an option for them. So thank you very much. And with that, I would like to open it up and see if we have any questions.
Thank you so much, Betsy. It was an awesome presentation you have taken. I really enjoyed, and the most importantly, I really learned. Earlier, I tried this one as you have sent me earlier, and I could not actually interpret what was my result actually, because I had no learning about this thing. But now I can realize, yes, this is the most important thing. One can actually check how much mindset they have, because it is
That's
important.
right.
Sometimes if you ask somebody, they will be biased. If you ask your family members, they will say these things, you are good. But when you go outside, the people actually say that no, she is not good and she is bad. Morally, the women is actually down at that point. So that is the test that one can use to check by themselves what actually they are. So I would like to request my attendees, those who are interested, they can actually check this discount code and check their mindset. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Betsy.
Yeah, and you
At
bring
this
up a
point,
great
I have few questions. Yes.
Okay. Let me
Yes.
add one thing to that, if I may. You make a great point, and you made me think of it that, you know, anybody can be an entrepreneur if you want to. I want to be very clear about that. Our test, it's not going to tell you, should you be an entrepreneur or shouldn't you? Think of it more like, if you were going to remodel your kitchen, you would take measurements of everything, right? You wouldn't just go out and buy a new refrigerator, buy a new stove, buy a new oven without knowing the measurements of your existing kitchen, right? And so that's what we're talking about here. This is a way to understand, you know, what areas are you strongest in and where could you spend some time on personal growth and development to make yourself more entrepreneurial?
Thank you so much. Now I move to the question part. First, I will take the question from our audience. One person have asked that how women in developing countries can help for finance support in their family, because you know that the finance is a most important thing. You are talking about mindset. Sometimes if they
Yeah.
do not get finance, so in developing countries, how could they can help support finance?
Wow. Y'all are coming quick with the hard questions, aren't you? Um, that's a very good question. And so if I understand it correctly, the question is, if you're in a developing country and if you don't have, is the question if you don't have proper
Any
support
support,
within your family? Yeah. You know, that's a great question. And I don't have a scientific answer for you, but anecdotally, I can tell you that I was pretty old before I realized that family doesn't necessarily mean your blood relatives. It means the people in your life who are supporting you and rooting for you, who are the people that are always rooting for you to win. You know, maybe it's the friend you've known since you were 8 years old. Maybe it's a woman who's kind of trying to do the same thing that you're doing in a different city. So anecdotally, I would say find your family and spend as much time as you can with your chosen family if you're not getting the support you need. And I appreciate that question, because I recognize that there are a lot of people who are in less than supportive situations, and that can make that makes the journey even harder than it already is. I mean, I think I wish I had a magic bullet answer for you, but the best that I have found is find the people in your life who are always rooting for you and stick with them.
Okay, thank you so much. Hopefully, you got the answers. The finance we need to have is from our family members and so on. If they support you, they will definitely support you in financing as well. Okay, next, my question to you. As you
Okay.
have worked in South Africa, even in Bahrain, even in some of the organization you have worked with, so in your opinion or in your statistics, which countries are most innovative, or which countries people are actually thinking that South Africa is a different African country and Bahrain is a Middle East country? Comparing to those countries, which one you think that's most innovative one, and either men or women, do you have any database or not?
Do we have in our database?
Yeah, database, yes, something like this. Or do you have any idea, or you can share something about that?
Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. So you're saying who is more successful, or are you
Cool
asking
again.
who is more entrepreneur? You know, they're different. They're different. That's that going back to I think it was slide 3. Let me see here. 3. Okay, that worked earlier. All right, I'm just going to stop the share and come back to you here. So they're different. They're truly different. And part of that is the culture. You know, with Bahrain, it's a much more homogeneous population. South Africa is a very, very diverse population. And so you kind of get more fragments in South Africa than you do in a nation like Bahrain. Now, yeah, that's a good question. An interesting nuance is that what we found in South Africa is that there were a lot of people in the informal economy. So when you have nations with substantial informal economies, it's a little bit harder to get a handle on it. And, you know, we're going and we're asking some sensitive questions. And we always partner with a local organization. So in South Africa, we partnered with the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation and African Response. So they sent people, the person who was coming to your door in South Africa to talk to you was someone who lived in the same village, you know, or town or city, so that there wasn't kind of that otherness to the person that was asking you very sensitive questions. In Bahrain, again, this is why it's so important for us to partner with a local organization. Our partner organization said, no, you can't go door to door. You have to do it by phone. And, you know, these questions you're asking about income, you have to just get rid of them, because that's not talked about. And that will be a turnoff. People will shut down if you have those discussions. And we said, okay, you know best. So every nation is a little bit different. It's very interesting. Now, I'm not sure if I have answered your question.
Yes, definitely. I got to learn new things. Yes, every country and every nation is different, and the approach should be different in every country. Yes, that's one
That's
of the
right.
things. Even if you come to my country, you cannot go to door to door.
That's
Yes,
right. That's right.
they will.
Yep.
Yes, same thing is
Yep.
happening in our country as well. Okay,
Yep.
thank you so much for the answer.
Thank
Now,
you.
one question from the audience is that uh, he or she is saying that what we can it can be doing day to day to foster an innovative or entrepreneurial mindset.
Ah,
So her question was
okay.
like this one: what they can do?
Okay. Well, you know, I would say that sort of depends on which dimension you're trying to work on. If you're trying to work on innovation, then things that encourage your creativity, so journaling, painting, any kind of artistic expression that gets you out of your regular line of thinking, would help. If you're looking to build resilience, honestly, the best way to become more resilient is to fail. I mean, and nobody wants to do it, but you know, there's an old adage in the United States: a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And that's
Uh,
just it. That you learn from failures. You don't always learn from successes. So personally, I could recommend cooking or baking to improve your resilience, because you have a couple of dishes go sideways on you and you think, now what are we going to eat, right? Um, but yeah, doing things that are out of your comfort zone. And you know, we've talked about this at other conferences, and I think maybe even Beauty, you and I have spoken about this, that we have to start normalizing failure. Failure is part of the process. You know, nobody, I mean, I can't say nobody, but I don't like to speak in absolutes, but almost nobody is going to hit on that magical thing right away. You know, you may have to try a few different things before you get the chemistry of, you know, what business is right for me? You know, what is it that I'm passionate about? What is it that, you know, I know I can do this? And what would I try to do if I knew I couldn't fail?
Thank you so much. We have last question for you from the audience. That
Okay.
she is a college student right now, and she would like to start a business in the future. So,
Very
what
good.
can she do right now to help herself to develop an entrepreneurial mindset so that she can succeed in the future?
I would say college student. Okay, so still pretty young, I would guess. I think I can't overstate the importance of trusting yourself. When you learn to trust yourself, all kinds of wonderful things will happen. Dishes will come out right in the kitchen. Your chocolate will be tempered. Uh, you know, it's learning to trust ourselves. And, for some of us, that's a very difficult thing. I didn't come to it naturally. I had to fail. I had to make a lot of mistakes. I had to learn from them. So yeah, just learn how to trust yourself.
Yes, definitely. My last question to you. Okay, I'm asking so many questions.
No,
My
it's
last
great. I
question.
love it.
Hi. Yes. How you have started your entrepreneurial journey and come to this point as a successful entrepreneur?
Have I?
Yes.
Uh, I have not yet been a successful entrepreneur. I will tell you that.
Yes, you
Um,
no, but
I
for us, you are.
yes. I I have a couple of things that I'm working on. Always have things that I'm working on. As you find with most people with an entrepreneurial mindset, they've always got a couple of different things going, and it's just a matter of what sticks. Um, Now, that being said, I I have tried a couple of times, and I have failed in the past, and I've written about it on the blog on our website. There's one called a blog post I wrote called "The Other F Word," which is failure, and going back to us talking about that. So in that post, I'm very honest about trying to start a business locally, and it just failed. Um, but that happens, and we talk so much about the successes that we don't always see the process of how the person got there, because sometimes it's kind of a long journey to get there. But if you keep hanging on and keep at it, you will get there. You will get there.
Yes. Definitely. Thank you so much. You have shared a lot important things about it. Okay. Any final remarks you would like to share with our audience?
No,
Any thanking or something?
you know, I, gosh. Okay, now if you want me to share wisdom, I need like a little more notice. The wisdom's just not just like right up here. I got to go a little deeper for it. But I would say, don't be afraid of failure. Believe in yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I really enjoyed every words that you have uttered. You have been amazing throughout the session. Hopefully, our learners, even the attendees, those who attended, they will actually share this with their other friends, families, and network as well. And I'm going to share this with my network as well, that you need to do these things, and if you need to develop the mindset and check out the website and go there and check by yourself. So thank
Definitely.
you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you
Yes.
so much for the opportunity, Beauty. I truly, truly appreciate it. And to all of our participants, if you have any questions, please shoot me an email. I'd be happy to help you interpret your results. If you have other questions that we didn't get to tonight, or you weren't comfortable asking in a group setting, bring them on. I'm
Yes.
happy to help.
Yes. Yes, our speaker is very full on fire. Yes, you rocked the floor today. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in
Thank
other future programs as well as the
Yes,
speakers.
I look
And
I look
definitely,
forward to that. I look forward to
yes,
that.
thank you
Thank you very much.
all. Hope to see you in our next program. Not bye for today, bye for this year as well. Okay,
Yes.
all the
Goodbye.
best.
Thank you so much.